All right, welcome everybody. Crown Council Live. I'm Stuart Anderson with Spencer Chipping. Hey, Chip.
Hey, how's
We were
everyone
both
doing?
we were both on fall break last week with our kids, so thanks for letting Greg and Steve kind of hold down the fort for us. It was good to be away. Spence, where were you?
We were in Newport, California.
Lovely.
Good time.
Yeah, and that's a family tradition, right? You guys.
It has been. It has been. Joni and I looked into it, and it has been almost. So it's been 14 years that we have.
What?
I know. When
Holy
we had
moly.
one kid. Yeah.
That's a good tradition. Very
Yeah.
cool. Hey, if you've never joined us on Crown Council Live before, this is our opportunity to connect with the community. This Crown Council membership is built on community, and we also say obviously built on content, culture training content. But we love connecting over the last year with so many different Crown Council members, resource partners, and to hear their stories about what's going on out in our own community. And it has just been looking back at over 30 episodes now so far, just so many opportunities that we've had to talk to people that, man, I don't know if we've ever would have heard some of the stories from people in the community. So it's been a lot of fun. We got a great show today. So right now, the TOPS team is actually here in Salt Lake City. They're downtown doing a total immersion program. And I'll bring Darcy Wilson, one of the TOPS coaches, recorded just a short segment with me, and we'll play that here in a second. But maybe Spence, talk about what you're getting ready for next week.
Oh man, Stu, I am heading to the Dominican Republic for one of our humanitarian trips. We have some awesome doctors and hygiene and overall just um, help and workers going with us on the trip. Um, it is going to be so fun, and I have been a couple of times to the Dominican, and as everyone has heard regarding the trips, and as Marcy will share today, just an incredible experience overall.
And maybe talk for 1 minute about the Lightwave offices that are joining you.
Yeah, this is really fun. This year, Stuart and I had the opportunity of working more and more with Lightwave. They are a a major DSO here in the country, and just a great addition to the Crown Council. Um, and a couple of the Lightwave dentists that are joining us have been with the Crown Council for many years, and so we're excited to have their team kind of come and experience it as a team. And I think, Stu, that is an important piece to make mention of, is talk about an opportunity for an office or a team to spend together doing humanitarian work.
I agree. And this Lightwave group, 45 of them out of the almost 80 practices now. So half of them participated in the Smiles for Life whitening campaign, and they raised $144,000 together. And they're using some of that money to fund their trip. They're using the trip as a bit of a reward. Am I right? For some of their
Right.
top offices and top practice earners from Smiles for Life whitening. So, man, they are so excited. I get a text almost daily from some of them about how excited they are to go down to the Dominican. So, going to be a great trip.
So fun.
Man, you're going to cook, by the way.
I know.
So
I know. Super hot with lots of it's mosquito season. And
oh boy.
you asked about preparing for this next week. It's common that you spray your scrubs prior to going on the trip, just to have them well prepared for
and ready.
mosquitoes.
Very cool. Hey, so we started 3 weeks ago. This is our fourth week here where we have Coach's Corner. It's where one of the TOPS coaches joins us from where they are, a practice that they're with. This is a new coach, Darcy Wilson, who is joining us with one of the offices that she takes care of, which is Dr. Blake Cameron. And they are together downtown in Salt Lake City at Total Immersion. And I'm going to play just this short 7-minute clip where they are together downtown. So let me know if I share my right screen here. You see my quick time? You see my file?
Perfect. Yep, that's perfect.
Okay, I'm going to play it. All right. Welcome to Crown Council live stream. This is a recorded segment. I'm Stuart Anderson. Howdy, guys.
Hello.
Hey, how are you?
Darcy Wilson, Blake Cameron, grateful to have you guys. They're downtown in Salt Lake City, so we're in the same city in different rooms, but they are participating in TOPS's Total Immersion program this morning. How's it going?
It's going good. Yeah.
You've been before, Blake?
Yeah, this is our second time. It's been a few years.
Okay.
Maybe has the entire team here today.
Oh, nice. Yeah. Have you taken your whole team before, Blake?
I did. It was a smaller team, about 5 years ago, I think.
Yeah.
Very good. Maybe explain to everybody, what is total immersion? Why would you go? Why would you take your team? Why would you take your team back?
So, I mean, what I consider total immersion is a great kind of heavy 2-day dose of culture of how to treat each other, how to treat people, how to be speaking the right language as we interact with each other and our patients, bringing them back. Like any other system we implement over time, certain things start to loosen up, get a little wiggly, time for a refresh. And I mean, it has been about 5 years for us. So we've got, I think, 4 of our team members that were here last time, and the rest have been new with us since the last 5 years.
Very good. Darcy, you're coach for TOPS.
I am, and I'm Dr. Cameron's coach.
Yep.
Oh, nice. When somebody says, should we go to Total Immersion? Why would I go? What's up? What do you tell them?
Well, it's interesting because for people who have been here before, I tell them that it aligns back into culture and team members. And then for the newer ones, it's all brand new, right? It's the understanding what the emotion is behind the services. And just like Steve Anderson says, there's really nothing in dentistry our patients want. It's the emotions they receive once they walk out the door. And to teach team members that is the biggest hurdle, I believe, today.
And it gives you a chance to step back. Any doctors that try to create this experience on our own in our office, we're going to fail. Simply by virtue of where you are. There's some magic to stepping out of the office, getting your team to a new place, hearing it from someone who's not you and who does a better job at it than you do because they do it all the time. You just can't replace it.
I love that. Maybe one thing you've learned, Blake, at Total Immersion.
So just this morning, reviewing, that we make our decisions emotionally and then we justify them with logic, and going through examples and watching the lights click on in my team members' eyes as we talk through those, so they can all see themselves in an experience like that.
Yeah.
I think it's powerful.
You're saying that patients don't want a root canal, Darcy? Is that what you're saying? Patients?
They don't. And when you hear them or guilt them into doing their treatment, there's a reason why they don't commit to it or say yes to it.
Yeah.
It's the emotion, what they feel.
Blake, is there power in gathering together with other practices? I just kind of want to get your opinion on that.
I think for sure. I mean, there are plenty of, I think, Crown Council doctors that may be solo practitioners. I've got 2 doctors with me, but there's something powerful with surrounding yourself with others who have a similar desire and fill a similar role. So for me as a doctor, going and rubbing shoulders with the doctors, there's a handful that I see at the annual event each year that I love seeing. We interact occasionally outside of the annual event, but most of it's there. And then also for my team members to rub shoulders with other dental assistants or dental hygienists that are not just outside their office, but also outside their area, right? Like for us in Cache Valley, Small Valley in Utah,
right?
You tend to hear what everyone around you thinks. And it's nice to break out of that and have like-minded, positive, focused people.
I like that. Very cool. Darcy, what are you working on? What's the biggest challenge right now as a TOPS coach? Whether it's in Blake's office or other offices, what are you seeing right now that you're really working on?
Really, it's entropy, to be very honest. Systems that should be in alignment that kind of just fizzle and fall apart, and it's bringing it back into alignment. No one really knows why entropy happens, but it does. And then the second one, I believe, across the United States is being an unrestricted provider. So even Dr. Cameron is going through those questions. Should I or should I not be contracted with certain plans? And you've had a very successful transition this year.
Yeah, we have.
Nice. Do you want to share just a minute about that?
So we've had a wonderful problem of growth and having more than we can handle in spite of building a new building and bringing on another doctor. So it's been the right time for us to start looking at keeping the patients who want to see us because they want to see us, not because we are cheaper. So we've been exiting many networks. I think 3 years ago, we were in probably 30 different networks, and now we're in about 5 and about to trim off a couple more. So for us, the answer for now is going to be to stay in a small number of them that we've been able to negotiate with, but it's impacted huge our ability to create experiences with our team because we're not worried as all of the other financial pressures that happen. We're in control, which has been so nice.
Yeah. Tough transition. Kudos. Good job.
Thanks.
Okay. Well, they're missing the meeting. They took a break, so I'll let you guys get back. But thanks for joining. Any final thoughts?
No, glad to
Nope.
be here. Thanks for inviting us
No.
on that. What is it? The Tops Corner for
Top
Thursday.
Coaches Corner. Yeah, we're grateful to connect with not all of them, but most of the Tops coaches are in Salt Lake at Total Immersion. So next week we'll connect. I believe we're going to Alaska next week to connect with the team there. So grateful. Thanks for both.
I've got one last thought for you, Stu.
Yeah.
Any doctors that are listening who don't have a coach of some kind, it doesn't have to be Tops. I'm obviously biased towards them, but if you don't have a coach, there's a whole lot you're missing, and it's worth whatever time or money you need to spend to get it, because you don't know as you don't know.
I love that. Thank you.
Thanks, Stu.
Awesome. Thank you.
Okay, guys. Have fun. See ya. All right.
What
Good
a
for them.
guy. Yep.
Yeah,
Great.
he is awesome. He was part of that young dentist program maybe 4 or 5 years ago, just building an awesome practice up there in Cache Valley, Utah. So very good. Great.
So,
Are you going down there, Spence, today or tomorrow to the Total Immersion?
yeah, tomorrow morning I'll be there. Also to note, one of our great resource partners that is hosting him in downtown Salt Lake at Zions Bank.
Zions Bank's down there, Practice Pathways with David Kirby. Man, they've had this on the calendar forever. So fun to finally see it happen. Very good. All right. We have a resource partner guest. Katie Nelson is joining us. And as DJ lets her in from the waiting room, Spence, maybe you can explain, we don't do it often, but maybe talk about what is a resource partner, how are they, and how do they interact with the Crown Council membership?
Yeah, great question. So a resource partner in the Crown Council is a business in the dental industry. Hi, Katie.
Hi,
Katie.
That provides their services and or products and expertise in their background and are really the best at what they do inside the dental industry. Now, a resource partner is also vetted out by us here in the Crown Council to ensure that we are providing the Crown Council members the best resource, relevant to what they are looking for in calling upon the resource partner of the Crown Council. In this case scenario, we have Katie Nelson, Oryx Dental Software, and Katie is a solution specialist and has been working with us here in the Crown Council for a little bit as we have began getting to know more about Oryx. And Oryx is a little bit unique, and that is an area we don't have a dental software resource partner in the Crown Council. And uniquely, this one is all cloud-based, which is in today's day, Katie will share with us why that has its advantages. And so maybe I'll pause there, Stu, as we ask Katie the questions, because I could talk about Oryx and Katie and resource partners all day.
Nice. Yeah. Katie, I'm going to so for years, as the Crown Council used to connect, the community would talk. So the community would say, hey, everybody, I'm using so-and-so, and they're terrible. Does anyone have a suggestion for a business for human resources, for dental software, for whitening? And the power of the community being you don't practice alone, which is you have 1,200 Crown Council members that now chime in and say, well, I'm using this, and they're the best. And that, in my opinion, is how resource partners are brought into this community, is because we're out in 1,200 different markets, and there's a lot of different practices working and using the different resource partners in Crown Council. It's an incredible way to not only save time, but to also get the best services when it comes to dental businesses. So I'm just grateful to finally have someone in this space. It's really fun to have Katie on, and maybe you could explain, Katie, just give us the what do I call it? Like the 1-2
elevator
punt. Okay, do it.
The elevator Oryx.
Thanks, Katie.
Yeah, absolutely. No, we're thrilled to be here and part of Crown Council as well. Oryx is a little bit different. Like you said, Spencer, we are all fully cloud-based. So it's really eliminating the cost of a server, the IT and security concerns that offices have to manage themselves. So we're handling all of that on the back end, keeping everything secure, backed up, HIPAA compliant for you, which is great. And then Oryx is all inclusive, making it a lot different than most softwares. You don't need all of the add-ons. So we're able to handle all of your texting, communication, your patient forms, your imaging, your insurance claims, all right inside of our software. And that's different. The market really hasn't seen anything like that without having to get everything integrated from other platforms.
No,
Very cool. Katie, maybe you could share a little bit about if a Crown Council practice were to call you and they say, I've got a dental software so good, we love it. I mean, what is that? Because I almost booked an appointment yesterday on your website.
Good.
Maybe talk about that experience. What you would share.
Yeah. So the big thing that sets us apart from others, besides the all-inclusive nature of it, is really the patient experience. So what we hear from doctors all the time is they know that dentistry is changing. A patient's not just going to the doctor down the street and saying, okay, you told me I need a filling because I have a cavity. Patients are looking for more, and Crown Council doctors know that. That's why they're here. They're part of this community. So our software is also helping with that. We're helping to engage the patient. We have evidence-based dentistry coming from Dr. John Coyce built into our software. So it's helping the team stay really systematic with their approach, how they're charting, diagnosing, treatment planning. You're bringing in that evidence-based dentistry. And then as that patient's initial exam is done, most often the team's going to present a treatment plan for the patient saying, here's what we're recommending you do. With our software, we're also automatically generating a risk assessment report that is done as soon as that exam's finished. So the team has a far better way of presenting the why behind the treatment plan. They can have the patient go home and truly understand the risk level in their mouth. We have a couple great testimonials from doctors who are using Oryx. We have a CSO who started using it in 2020. They were doing, I think they had 8 locations. They were doing $750,000 a month across their locations. After they started using Oryx, it went up to 1.65 million. Wow. So just because they systemized their approach and presented treatments differently. So huge data points there. Another solo practitioner in Chicago went from 600 patients to 3,000 in just a couple of years and got rid of all of her insurances that she was in network with, just because she's drawing in those patients who truly care about their oral health.
Wow. Very cool. You know, Katie, I loved the story, and maybe you could elaborate a little bit about the origins of the product, how it was created.
Yeah, definitely. Dr. Rania Saleh was a Coyce trained doctor. She, had been using the Coyce principles for a long time, and her practice was doing really, really well. She had, been profitable within a year, brought on associates, was doing great. And then with pregnancy, had to be out of work for a while, and she was watching her practice lose money. And she realized that her systems were failing without her being in the office. So that's how she started this brainchild and started creating the software to implement checklists and protocols so that everybody's following the same plan in the office. And it was able to get her associates back up to that same level of care.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Nice. Chip, any additional questions for Katie?
More of just some comments and feedback to our listeners. You'll be able to see Katie and Oryx at the annual event in Salt Lake City this January. number one. Number two, for learning more about Oryx, they're uploaded on our website under our resource partner section. And we're just really excited to have them, to work with them. So thank you, Katie.
Yeah, thank you guys. On our website too, you can schedule a demo. We're happy to take you, any users through, potential users, and show you everything that Oryx has to offer. We're really excited to be here.
I'm doing it. I'm signing up.
Love it.
Thanks, Katie. Grateful to have you, and we'll see you in Salt Lake soon.
All right, thanks, guys.
Okay,
Thank you.
see ya.
Bye.
Bye-bye. Nice.
She's
Very
great.
cool.
Yes.
Man, very good. Remind me, how did we find Oryx?
Yeah, that's so. As Stu asked earlier, vetting and finding resource partners. Crown Council members, there are many businesses that want to be resource partners.
Yeah.
Know that. The vetting process is up to us to ensure that they are going to be good for you. And we do that. We take that time. There are many resource partners that are not, it is not a come one, come all, if you will, Stu.
Right.
So I think that is important to note for our members. Yeah.
Definitely. Yeah, I think that more than anything, when I used to introduce a resource partner to the Crown, it's really not an opportunity for them to, oh, hey, come on in and sell.
Right.
It's more of an invitation to partner as part of the membership, to provide solutions, to provide things that like a true community member.
Right.
And it's funny because some of them really they fit, and some of them really don't fit, and they make a swift exit when they realize, like, oh, I am asked to give, I'm asked to provide, I'm asked to be a real partner here. So very good. Excited for Oryx.
Yeah.
Cool. Hey, we're going to bring in Marcy Ashton. Marcy is, I actually kind of feel bad. Maybe I'll wait and tell her why. Marcy works at the Crown Council office. Hi, Marcy.
Hi. Am I on?
You're on, you're in. So Marcy is 10 feet away from me. And Marcy, she's never been on the live stream. So Marcy, I apologize. So for two reasons. I just want everybody to meet you as everybody talks and interacts with Marcy, and Blake Shelton there in the background. Look at Blake with his head cut off.
Blake
Yes,
and
love him.
we love working together.
But Marcy went to Guatemala last week, so we wanted to hear a bit about her experience, her trip, and to just talk about a little bit about what happened. But first of all, Marcy, what do you do here in the on the Crown Council team?
I answer the phones mostly, and then try to solve any problems before passing them on to the next person. So, and my favorite thing to do is talk about humanitarian trips, because I love them.
That's fun. And remind me, you went, so everybody from the Crown Council team gets to, we kind of cycle. So obviously Spence is going next week. Marcy went last week. And one of us is on every trip. Marcy, who did you take with you? You took
I took my son. Or you mean just from my own family? Yeah, my son. I took my son. He speaks Spanish, and that was amazing, because sometimes you just feel a little lost going, I'm not sure if I'm communicating well. So he was at my side a lot of times going, tell me what we're saying. What are we doing? How are we communicating? So he was a big help for me. Loved having him there.
Yeah, I'm very lost. It's no good. When a Crown Council member calls the office to go on a trip, what do you usually say to them? How does that conversation go?
First, I ask them if they've ever been, because if they've been, it's not hard to tell them why they need to go. They've experienced it. They absolutely get it and want to serve again. If they haven't gone, then watch out, because I'm going to give them an earful, because I just absolutely love humanitarian trips. Number one, it changes your life, and like nothing else. You hear about it all the time, but until you experience your first humanitarian trip, nothing that you've experienced in your life compares to that. So I just tried to explain to them all the things that are going to happen on that trip, that they'll come back a different person. They'll have such an appreciation for the simple things in life. They will love serving and seeing other people and how blessed their lives are because of your willingness to be there and serve. And you'll make lifetime friendships with those who you serve with. There's some of the offices that I have been on trips with that when I see them, you just run to them and hug them because you've had that bond in a humanitarian trip that was so amazing. So you definitely get those lifetime friendships. And then it just makes you want to continue to do good in the world. You know, any opportunity you have, you reflect on that wonderful experience and want to do it again and again.
Nice. I agree. We had Blake Cameron on this morning, and he talked about associating and gathering with like-minded doctors. I can't think of very many better environments for that to take place than on a humanitarian trip, surrounded by that is a like-minded group. If you're interested in connecting and being part of a really neat community. I mean, I've been on a trip, 10 years ago that I'm still just that 1 week, it binds you together. Like, I probably shouldn't say it, but I mean, some of the horrible things that happen, it binds you together in a way that, I mean, it's hard to break that connection when you're sharing things that are difficult. It's not easy to serve in some of those situations. So very cool.
Very true. And it's so great to take, a child with you that maybe is like, that's one of my most favorite things is having my children experience that with me and come back and go, man, are we ever blessed?
Yeah.
Because I've seen how other people live outside of our little realm. So
Sure.
Definitely.
Marcy's been on both Dominican and Guatemala trips, and she's one of the only that have been to both Guatemala locations. Maybe talk about the difference between the trips, Marcy.
I think two of the biggest differences, the Guatemala trip, you feel like you're in a bus a little bit longer than the Dominican. It seems like we have a lot more traveling to get to those locations. And then it also is a kind of a one setup and one takedown. So you feel like you've got a little bit more time to work with these people because you aren't spending some of that time setting up and taking down. But so I love Guatemala for that reason. Sometimes you're absolutely exhausted and then you have to take down everything, put it away, and then go to the next location the next day. So for me, that's maybe the biggest difference between Guatemala and the Dominican. The people are very similar. They're very appreciative. They're very patient. They're sweet. They're fun to be around. A little difference in maybe their circumstances. The Dominican people, I feel, are a little bit less, I don't know. Their circumstances have been a little worse than the Guatemalan people, but they're all in need of service so much. But no matter what, I think you come home absolutely exhausted and dirty and sweaty but so happy that you got that opportunity every single day to serve. So there's not too much difference in the two. I love both locations, but you're just driving a little bit more and setting up and taking down. So
yeah, Spence is going at a good time with his kids because you come home and it's Christmas.
That's very true, Stu. Good point. I'll keep reminding them that.
Here's a case of water for your.
Yeah, no doubt.
Definitely.
Hey, Marcy, thank you very much. Grateful for you. Glad you had a good trip.
Happy to help. Happy to be on this and let everybody know that they need to participate. It's the best thing you'll ever do.
Thank you. Okay. Grateful to have you on. Thanks. Bye.
Bye-bye.
So maybe you saw yesterday, Shane Sykes put out a video that he made. So he was on the Guatemala trip as well. And it's a very interesting video. Most of the time when a Crown Council doctor creates a video, it's more of an emotional piece. It's more of like I don't know, is that a good way to put it? This is more of a information, what it's like, what it was like day by day and step by step. So we're going to play it. And then Shane, he hopefully will join us at 11:40 in 9 minutes, but he also is working on a patient. So if he can break away, he'll join us. If not, we'll catch him another time. So I'm going to play the video that he made. He produced it. Make sure I have the right screen. Okay, Chip.
Yep.
Is that right? We got it?
It's good.
I wanted to tell you a little bit about our trip to Guatemala, show you some photos. It was an amazing experience. We flew into Guatemala City on a Saturday. Dr. Gar gave us a welcome at our opening dinner. Everything, the logistics were all arranged by our in-country hosts, Choice Humanitarian. This is Stephen, who's from the US and traveled down with us. As the Choice representative from the US, he was our translator. These were our in-country hosts who do not speak English, but they arranged all the logistics, transportation, lodging, everything. We traveled by bus to the clinic location about 8 hours away from Guatemala City. Most of that time was on this big bus, but we also transferred to two smaller buses because the village where the clinic is too remote and too small for the big bus to get to. So we drove through the countryside, through some beautiful areas, and then we transferred onto these smaller buses to get to the village down a dirt road. The road had washed out a couple of days before we got there, and so here they were repairing it so that we could get to the village. We had a welcome ceremony from the local people with a native dance from the local Mayan people. Most of these people speak Quechua, and so we had to have translators translate from English to Spanish and Spanish to Quechua and vice versa, with so that we could communicate. Dr. Gar talked to us about how there's no growth in the comfort zone and no comfort in the growth zone. Here's a little music they played for us to welcome us. So this experience, well, a lot of it was about going outside your comfort zone and focusing on new experiences and what other people experience. We stayed at a hotel about an hour away from the clinic, and so each day we'd get up and have breakfast here and then jump on the bus, drive 30 minutes on pavement on these little buses, 2 little buses, and then 30 minutes down the dirt road to get to the clinic. We used portable dental equipment with, you can actually see one of the units right here. It has a compressor built into it. There's no, we didn't use suction, and so it was, everything was very different than how we operate in a clinic in the States. Patients sit in these plastic lawn chairs, lean their head back onto a cushion, and we work standing up, kind of bend over. It's a pretty awkward posture, but it gets the job done, and it allows us to work in any setting. This is one of the best clinic settings that I've seen as far as the space available, the equipment available. We actually had electricity. We didn't need to use generators, and we had a flushing toilet, which was amazing. We don't use suction, and so the patients hold a cup and then they spit into the cup as needed. Most of the work we did was extractions and fillings. Some fillings, but mostly extractions, and a few root canals to try and save some front teeth. That's what we were doing for this young woman. All of our lunch was brought in so that it was safe, and we knew we didn't have to worry about getting sick from any of the food. We always drank bottled water. Those that were not providing clinical care could help with the logistics and moving people around. And everyone, it's important to take time to visit with the locals and get out and play and enjoy being together, painting fingernails, jumping rope, things like that. But there's always work to do for anyone, whether you're clinical or non-clinical. Just a delightful opportunity to connect with others and really see a different type of life. Most of these children will never have the opportunity to attend school because they have to work or they have to care for siblings. This is one of the poorest areas in Guatemala. Many of these 10 and 11-year-old girls are carrying around babies that are their own babies. And so it's a huge opportunity for us to experience new privileges that we don't have generally in the United States of America. The privilege of taking a cold shower, the privilege of not having a flushing toilet available, or not having any water or electricity available, or not having running water at all. Those are privileges that we take for granted, and we are reminded how blessed we are. Russell Nelson said, "The joy we feel has little to do with the circumstances of our lives and everything to do with the focus of our lives." So this was a chance for us to really be reminded of what's important in life and make connections with other people. Back here, a couple of clinical things. So Dr. Gar did a lot of the screening. He would write down on the patient's wristband what they need, and then we would get them back and treat as many people as we could. We had 2 police officers with us at all times to make sure that we were safe, because Guatemala is a little bit rough lately, but we never had any danger or anything. It was always safe. And here, my sister Diane, who is not in the dental field, explains how the sterilization process works.
Welcome to the sterilization of instruments. The tools arrive here, bloody and gross, and this is just regular dish soap, and you scrub. Then this tool, once it's scrubbed, can go into the water to rinse. And then we have a set of bleach water, and this soaks for 15 minutes. When that timer rings, these instruments will go into a rinse bowl and wait until this bin is ready. This bin is a 10-minute soak in Hymenol, which is pronounced some other way. Hymen or something else, I don't know. And then transfer to water. And the last step in the process is a 15-minute soak in pure alcohol. And we have this lid on so that it does not evaporate. And then we set the instruments out here on this sterile surface. And
so that's how the sterilization works. Definitely not what we expect for normal infection control protocol in the United States, but it works in any environment, and it gets the job done to allow us to go out to these remote and rural settings and provide great care, connect with the people. It is a delightful experience to really remember how blessed we are and how we are all really the same. We're brothers and sisters, and we can love everyone around the world together. After the clinical time, this is a tarantula at somebody's hotel. After the clinical time, we went to Rio Dulce on the coast to enjoy some rest and relaxation for our last day together, and took a boat trip out to the ocean and relaxed, went to a special swimming hole and some cliff jumping and relaxing on the beach. It was a delightful time to connect with the local Guatemalans, the Mayans, learn about their history and their culture, and have a delightful time with the 30 Americans that came down together and experience that. I recommend for anyone to regain focus in your life and focus on the things that matter most in life. So this was our group, and had a delightful experience, and I recommend it for anyone. Thanks for listening.
Nice.
So
You're-
good.
You're gonna have to make one of those, Spence, when you get home.
That is a pleasure.
Nice, dude. That was great. Do you know Dr. Sykes well? Have you ever met him?
Yeah, Shane. Yeah,
Yeah.
I do know him well.
He is a Crown Council doctor in Reno, and has a really interesting practice, being so successful out in Reno as one of the only real practices that work and connect with the people of that city. If I can wait for just a minute to see if he jumps on, he has a really interesting story about how he is managing both his business and his family and what they do together. I mean, going on a humanitarian trip is right up their alley. They are a adventure family. They're doing like adventure racing and all sorts of cool stuff. These opportunities that he's provided his family. So I'm going to wait just a minute to see if he jumps in.
I think
And
it has entered.
oh, he has. Let's do it.
While he's coming in, I'll say that's how I have got to know Shane, Dr. Sykes, is through his adventures and such. So here he is.
Hey,
Hello.
did you finish, or did you have to leave early there with your patient?
Oh, we got it done.
You got
It was
it
easy.
done. We just watched your video. I loved it. I was telling Spence and all the listeners, all the audience, that you usually, that video is emotional with pictures and music. I love the way that you told the story of your trip and the things that happened to you. Any commentary on your video or on your trip, Shane, before we kind of dig in here?
The video I made as I've had a couple of friends that are like, what is it like? How do you do it? And so I wanted to be more of like the logistical, how does it actually work?
Yeah.
And I've got some of my team is going to the Dominican Republic next week or in 2 weeks. And so that was for them to see what's it like actually in the trenches. So that's why I made that, just really quick and simple, explaining what happens and how it worked.
Hey, maybe talk a little bit about your practice, where you're coming from, size, and just a little background, a little history.
Yeah. So I'm in Reno, Nevada. We have 2 doctors in our practice, myself and Travis Adams. I've been here since 2011. We have 10 chairs, I think. I'm in the office Monday through Friday, and general practice, we do everything, very broad, comprehensive. Don't see a lot of kids, but otherwise we do a pretty good amount of everything else.
Nice. Very cool. And remind me, how did you connect with Crown Council?
I actually was thinking about that yesterday. I joined the Crown Council in 2003, I think, 2004. Wow. I was in dental school and I got a scholarship to attend dental boot camp, and been involved ever since then.
Man, that's one of those stories where you say the rest is history.
Yeah.
That was awesome. So Shane attends an annual event every year. He's one of what I would consider like an all-star member of this group, involved, both feet in, part of the community in every way. Maybe Shane, if you were going to talk to the membership and share 3 or 4 things that you've learned over the last 20 years that you cannot practice without, I don't mean to put you on the spot, but what advice would you give to this community about how to build a practice, a team, even your family? I mean, what are some things that you've learned?
Yeah. Having just come back from Guatemala and the experience that we had there, I was blessed to be able to take my children with me. I have 6 children, and 2 are out of the nest. And so we went with myself and 4 children and my wife. And I would not practice without the Crown Council and the humanitarian aspect that it provides. I don't remember if I told the story in the video of Dr. Gar talked about how we have moments in life that are, kind of, we run right in the 5-6 average daily kind of life, but then we have moments that are a 10 and moments that are a 1, and we experience all of those, and the 1s help us appreciate the 10s. And on this trip to Guatemala, I really experienced those very close together. I was working on an 11-year-old boy and hoping to be able to do root canals on 8 and 9 and save those teeth. But we ultimately decided we had to extract them. So I had to get someone to interpret from English to Spanish to Quechua and tell this boy, we need to remove your front teeth to solve your pain. And so that was really hard for me to think about, what does that mean for him in the future? When is the next time that he'll have access to dental care? Is he ever going to be able to have a full smile? What does this mean for the rest of his life? And so that was definitely a 1 on the emotional scale for me. Then as we were doing that, I looked up and looked out the window, and I could see my 11-year-old son, happy, healthy, having all the privileges that he could want in life. And that felt like a 10, but also to see him connecting with the Mayan children and running around and playing soccer and jumping rope and having so much fun, not being able to speak their language at all, but absolutely thrilled, having fun with them, loving one another. That was a 10 for me, to realize that no matter what happens in life, we can love other people, whether we can talk to them or not. We're all brothers and sisters. We're all here together. And so the perspective that brings to my family life, to my clinical practice, is so important, and something that I would definitely have a totally different practice if that hadn't been taught to me very early on through my involvement with the Crown Council, especially.
Very cool. Great insight.
Yeah, that's the main thing that comes to mind at this moment, having just come back from Guatemala.
Yeah, I love that. Yeah, we were just talking about how powerful it is that, when you come home, those lessons of gratitude, and especially sharing them with your children, the privileges that we're given here. So great insight. Yeah. Shane, could you talk for just a minute about how you make your practice successful? If you were to go back in time and talk to Dr. Shane Sykes, 10 years ago, what advice would you give him about building your practice?
Probably one of the keys for me is the answer is always yes. Whatever the patient needs, whatever the patient wants, yes, we will be happy to make that happen for you. This morning, we had a patient in hygiene that had traveled a couple of hours to come in and see us. She had some decay around an old filling. I recommended replacing that. And the hygienist said, is there any way we can make that happen for her while she's here? Yes, the answer is yes. We will do what we need to serve the patient, make it happen, take advantage of it while they're there in the chair. It's great for the patient to save them trips, save them, especially if they have anxiety, then they don't have to let that anxiety build up for weeks while you get them back in. Great for the practice to be able to add production and serve patients. So saying yes, and if it's, I want this procedure and I want you to provide it, that has been really valuable for me as well in pushing my growth and development to become as broad as possible. Yesterday, I had a new patient that needed a lot of care, periodontal and implants and things. And I said, we could refer you out to an orthodontist, or I can do the Invisalign for you here in the office. And he said, oh, if I have to leave your office, I'm not going to do it. So I want to do everything here. And so
Nice.
that has been huge, to be able to expand my skills to provide all the care the patients need. Really helps them move forward and not get lost in the cracks or lose momentum, and helps me to be able to be productive.
I love that. Very cool. That is a classic. Man, you got to record that guy.
Yeah.
That's got to be on the website. Hey, as we wrap up, Shane, there has been, I'm looking at your annual event attendance. You have not missed since 2011. You've come to maybe just a bit of a self-promotion here for us. Why is the annual event part of your yearly plans? How come you don't miss?
The annual event is so fun for me because there's two aspects that I really love. One is the speakers and the messages, and resetting myself, my goals, my desires, my dreams, and not focusing on what kind of adhesive should I be using and all that kind of stuff, but focusing on, why am I doing dentistry? How can I use my clinical skills to make other people's lives better, both of my patients and my employees and my community? So that's one side, is focusing on the why of what I do. Just as importantly is the social side of having been involved with the Crown Council Network over all these years. I have a lot of friendships, and being able to get together with people and sit down and talk business, talk personal, talk about hopes and dreams for the future. Some of my best friends in the world are actually in the Crown Council, and just, even though I only get to see these people once a year at the annual event or on a humanitarian trip together, that the social side of being able to support one another and talk about what are your challenges, what are your hopes and dreams, and encouraging one another in that is so huge.
Very cool. Nice. Spence, any other final questions, Dr. Sykes?
Shane, we'll take you a different direction here. We know we were talking about you being an adventurous person. What's coming up for you? We know that you've always got to have something in the hopper.
Yeah. Lately, we did a family sabbatical in 2019 that was ended by COVID. And since we settled back down to normal life, adventure racing has really grown on my family. And so we've been really working hard on that. And I've competed the last 2 years in the U.S. Adventure Racing National Championships with two of my children, as it's a three-man team. And so this past year, we finished 6th place in the nation with my 16 and 15-year-old kids. And so that's been a lot of fun. Great excuse to get out and mountain bike and run and paddle and do all kinds of cool stuff.
That's not your regular family Thanksgiving Day 5K.
No, my daughter was going to run a 5K last week up at college, and she never run a 5K before. And they told her, well, the 5K is just on the street, but if you do the 10K, it's on trails. And she said, well, why would I run the 5K then? And then she came in 2nd place on the 10K, and she's never run a race like that before. She's only done 24-hour adventure races.
That's fun. That's so good. Well, it's fun to highlight that adventure and the way you connect with your family. It's a really cool part of, I just love to watch it on social media. That's where I see it. So keep posting, and it's fun to follow. Very good.
Awesome.
All righty, sir. Hey, well, thank you. Just as a final highlight, Shane and his practice has raised over $61,000 for Smiles for Life whitening, all of which we're just so grateful for their hard work, their service, and their dedication to just Shane being an incredible example to this group as people look to you and watch the way that you serve your family and patients. And I'm just grateful for your example and commitment to this community. So thank you.
Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you.
Okay, man. Have a great day.
Take care.
Hey, bye-bye. Man, I'm glad he was able to join us.
Man, so awesome. What a
good
person.
We could do a full live stream on adventure race.
Oh man. Yeah, very well rounded there.
Yeah, very cool. All righty, Chip. Well, that's all we've got for today. Good show, a lot of fun people we met. So thanks for
So
being
good.
on.
Yep.
Yeah, thanks for joining us, everybody, and we'll see you next week. Thanks.